Welcome to Smash Writing. I'm your host, Paul.
No! Come on.
And this is Justin.
It's been solos for a month. I don't have to deal with this bullshit for a month.
And now you're going to deal with it so much.
Stupid introductions. It slows everything down.
No, it does not. But welcome to Smash Writing. And today, we are ranking our favorite action films.
From 1980 to 1989. We're finishing off the action list.
Is there a 70s?
No, I'm not going further.
No?
No, I've seen the 70s list. It's not good. We're making an unfortunate jump, but we'll get to that later.
Alright. Let's cut to the chase.
Our favorites, our top 10s, the ones we go to, they'll be vastly different.
Very.
Yes, even our lists are vastly different.
Yeah, that's why there's two of us. So now,
yell at him in the comments.
I'll start with my number 10. No secret, we're comic book fans, and we've talked about before.
Didn't you say that? They didn't know.
We are talking about the 1989 film. This was 88. The first Batman film with Michael Keaton.
I don't know the year.
Who cares? I think it was like 88 because they came out back to back, or 89, something like that. I enjoyed what they were doing. They made it dark. They made it enough action, obviously, because it's a comic book film. They didn't overuse Michael Keaton in this, even though he really wasn't an action star. Still isn't, but he makes his appearances with the comic book genre. Jack Nicholson as the Joker.
Jack Nicholson is Jack Nicholson.
As Jack Nicholson, just with face paint.
They just painted his face and gave him a suit. That's about it.
Pretty much, at least, In
the 80s, you can't get away from the superheroes here.
No, but it wasn't as bad. I mean, not that they're bad films, but it wasn't heavy.
We got a more diverse list in this decade.
Yeah. Still, it came with the kicks, came with the punches. Is it the best action film overall? No. But it still made at least number 10 of my top 10. And that's my number 10.
My number 10, Sarah Connor. It's Terminator. Terminator was wonderful. It really set up, just
if this was
amazing.
a top 15, this would be in it.
I don't know. It's not. You put... I'm not going to say. But, it's a great premise of the robot coming back from the future to kill the woman who's going to give birth to our savior, the human who came back to save him. And it feels like he's never not a threat in this movie. Arnold is just the perfect cast, too. And this was, his decade. This in the early 90s was his.
Oh, yeah.
And he was just fantastic. He didn't have to speak, which is a big thing, and it's just force of nature going through everyone, and they wielded this action with the horror genre perfectly. You were afraid of Arnold. And they did so well. The action sequences are amazing. So many iconic lines that came from this movie. It's a great time. Number 10.
My number 9, I'm sticking with the comic book genre and sticking with DC. And of course I'm talking about Superman 2. This was probably, the height of Superman. It's 3 and 4.
Or the decline.
Or the decline. This was...
I say that. I watched 4 until it bled, the blood coming out of the VCR film erupting in the fire.
And once again, they managed to use a actor who wasn't really an action star. And they did it with Michael Keaton with Batman. And now they did it here. They created a franchise.
Great score.
Yeah.
The music, the soundtrack. Dun, dun, dun.
Mm-hmm. They did everything right without overdoing it.
They followed up really well with what they laid in place.
Yeah, and then that's where I probably... Honestly, I've seen 3s and 4s, bits and pieces of it, just to know I just don't like it. But my number 9, Superman 2. Good film. I can rewatch it, and I think that's really all of it. If you can rewatch the film, that's one of your favorites. Yeah, Superman 2.
Well, try not to smother it too much here. It is only your number 9.
That is true. My number 9, Superman 2.
hell are you doing?
I don't know.
My number 9 is Rambo: First Blood. Sylvester Stallone gave us a hell of a memorable performance in this movie of the war veteran, the two different type classes of war veterans kind of clashing together, and Rambo just so much sympathy for him. He was just minding his own business, and they said him that they didn't realize who they were messing with, but not like a comedic, like I'll burn down this stuff, like in a real sad way, or like PTSD soldier kind of deal.
Right.
Like he needed so much help and he didn't get it, and he's being harassed by the moment he came home.
Wasn't the ending, because it's been a while since, wasn't the ending was like the more emotional?
Yeah.
Than,
well, it was always going to be emotional, but the one ending would have him die. The colonel would kill him in the original ending.
Oh, okay.
But that speech at the end, like the speech alone puts the movie on this list. Of him just breaking down into tears and sobbing. It was an incredibly moving movie. And a movie you wouldn't think would have that, and a franchise that got away from that real damn quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just became him hiding in the forest, killing
and just
people.
Killing me.
It was great stuff, but it doesn't hold a candle to what they did here in First Blood.
First Blood was obviously the first film, right?
Yes.
Okay, I know, like some there was like in the series where it was like First Blood Part 2 or something.
Yeah, I think that was Rambo 2 was First Blood Part 2 or something like that.
Okay, so the full title is actually Rambo First Blood.
Yes.
Okay. My number.
You got some explaining to do here. So I get why you didn't have the first one. The first one was in the 70s.
Yes, that is correct.
Why the hell is this one here?
My number 8 is Smokey and the Bandit 2.
Now, I vaguely remember this one. This is the one with the elephant, right?
I don't recall an elephant. It might have been 3.
Well, you would know. It's on your list. Was there an elephant?
I don't recall.
But how is it on your list?
Because I enjoyed watching it. I just can't remember if one particular elephant was in this film.
You would remember that's the plot of Smokey and the Bandit 2.
I just enjoyed it mostly because it had trucks and cars.
And that made your list. That trucks and cars.
In that type of genre of films?
Yeah. Transport a pregnant elephant to a Republican convention in Dallas. Where they'd shoot it, because it's Texas.
Come on, the plot alone sounds pretty good, though.
Dude, it's on your top 10 list.
I know, because...
You don't remember anything.
I just remember... It's not like I watched it yesterday. It was actually been some time since I've seen Smokey and the Bandit 2.
But it still made you don't have Terminator, but you have a movie you don't remember the plot to.
I know, I really did enjoy the driving.
You're really calling yourself out here, Paul.
No, I did enjoy the driving. I did enjoy the cars. Anything with like trucks, something that I just grab onto with movies with trucks. And you'll actually see that in my list later on in my list. I mean, honestly, I probably like Smokey and the Bandit Part 1. Now, we all don't want to talk about 3 because that was just crap.
This has a pregnant elephant going to a Republican convention. Come on.
That's their logo!
We all know what they're going to do to that elephant. They'll shoot the elephant, carve out the babies, and shoot the babies.
You are graphic.
That's what happens in Texas. Don't go there.
We love our Texas fans.
I don't love it. Not until you fix that government, I don't love it.
That's my number 8. Let's go with your number 8.
You want to know why number 8 is here?
Why?
Because of the scene with Arnold, and he's blowing up the mansion. And every time they cut, he has a different gun. It's Commando! Of course it is. Good Lord, this movie has a thin plot with every great one-liner for Arnold in the world at every moment. Killing someone, shoving someone around, shooting more people. Just RPG, just out of nowhere. Where did it come from? Who cares?
Even if it doesn't make any logical sense, he has a gun in his hand.
Remember how I told you I saved you for last? I lied. This is his decade. Arnold's the best. He is.
It's
Commando.
Tons of there's 4 or 5 good action stars that came out of the 80s.
Yeah.
Like this was their decade of shine.
And he shined. It shined. He has a missing child. You don't care. You don't care about that kid.
My number 7.
Boo. Boo.
You know all about me. You watch our channel.
Boo.
I am talking about Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back.
If you ever want to see a sequel that was not planned, it's Star Wars.
That is true. There's no doubt that they added stuff as they went in.
This is the most overrated sequel of all time.
I think of the Star Wars franchise, I do think this is one of the better films. I wish.
Low bar.
Wait till I do a Star Wars ranking.
You enjoy that. You call that solo.
That will probably be a solo idea, yes. But no, to me it had the emotional punch to it the whole time. Luke Skywalker Walker wants to go after Darth Vader, even though he knows he's not ready to fight him.
And the rest of the cast is there.
yeah, that part's true.
They hang out on an asteroid.
Well, no doubt the Skywalkers are the main characters, and they do focus strong on them. You have some ups and downs, betrayals. Then the scene where finally Darth Vader reveals, "No, I didn't kill your father. I am your father." I mean, Luke took it a little bit dramatic. I would think finding out that my dad is actually the second most powerful man in the Empire would actually be an honor, but...
Yes.
But
I am related to the evil man.
the one that should be the Empire next,
Well,
he's my dad.
That certainly points you in another light there, Paul. This is where we shoot you so you can't gain power. Let's send you down to Texas.
No, but it had, the action to go. Actually, I think it's probably like really the only true sci-fi action film I have on my list. And the graphics at the time probably could have been better, but they were still.
Well, you can't fault 80's for graphics, or they weren't really existent.
And keep in mind too, Star Wars wasn't this big gigantic empire back then. This was
still a juggernaut. People riding the high from the.
That is true, but now it grew to even monstrous levels. But still, I enjoyed all the twists and turns that it gave us. Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, which was nice because you had the evil empire getting their revenge. I mean, you kind of assume
it's in the title.
That is, yeah, they kind of gave it away. I would have gave it a different title, but other than that, it's my number 7.
Well, George Lucas is not that good with words.
And he is, and remember, guys, he is to be blamed for the prequels.
Okay. He's not that good with people talking and monologuing.
I hate sand.
Yeah, I hate saying that's a great line.
Your most powerful Jedi and second most evil person. I don't like sand. Anyway, go ahead.
Where am I? 6. Yeah.
You would number them.
Number 7. Yeah, I don't do that. I'm not here to be professional. At least I know the plot of my movies. My number 7 is Lethal Weapon. This is a great buddy cop movie. I think this really set the platform for buddy cop movies.
Yeah.
The chemistry between Mel Gibson and Danny Glover is fantastic. Gary Busey at his most intense bad guy.
His peak.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a great little story of especially the cop, the performance Mel turns in on the suicidal cop who wants to die. He's just not. He's right there at the door.
Because he lost his wife, and he just kind of wants to end it there, yeah.
He hasn't crossed that line yet of he's going to kill himself, but he wants someone to do it for him.
And kind of with his character, with meeting up with Murdoch, it kind of gave him a second life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a real cool concept of this family that pulls him off the ledge and back into reality.
And yet he still managed to stay crazy.
Yeah, he still manages to do his crazy stuff.
I'll add my input because it is on my list too, just down the road, a couple down. So, my number 6 once again, sci-fi.
This is action.
It was under the.
I know it was.
I was shocked too. No,
we'll talk about that in another list. But
my film is Maximum Overdrive, and I guess this was under the label of sci-fi
This
action.
is so weird. I love Maximum Overdrive.
Really?
It's weird.
Yeah, it is
weird.
trippy.
I love the soda machine that kills the guy. Starts pounding him with cans. That's the amazing scene.
Coke kills.
I love the push mower chasing the guy down.
Which,
and
okay.
running him over.
Like,
Stephen King on his most cocaine.
yeah. That's the thing too, like some of these vehicles didn't make sense to come alive because like it was trucks and cars, which okay, you kinda got there. Then there was the
Well, it's
Coke
anything electronic. It wasn't just Cokes or cars. It's anything with electric.
right, but it seemed to be heavy, like implied that it was
Well, yeah, because you had to get that truck in there.
the green monster face, which is like still lives.
I want a remake for this movie. I do. I want this movie remade.
I could agree with that.
A little bit more of a direction. Is it really just didn't feel like there was a story direction here beside things killing them. You could do a story.
And they were surviving in the
Give it to Jordan Peele.
yeah.
He would kick the ass out of a Maximum Overdrive
That is true.
remake.
But yeah, I enjoy the trucks. Like you said, the soda machine. Of course, the kid like using.
Oh, I love the ball players, the little kids being chased off with the vending machine.
This is like demented and then like they have to go survive on an island where there's no electricity. And then even when you think like most of them are going to get out there, you still had the one guy trying to dig off the ring of the woman, and he just gets plowed by the truck. The annoying Bible salesman, was it? I know he was selling books. I'm pretty sure.
It is probably Bible salesman.
Yeah, it had everything, and at times it is so cheesy.
Yeah. Oh, it's cheesy. It's dumb, but it's dumb fun.
And yeah, the action is probably minimum to like some shooting, and the truck's just running through stuff.
They're all passing out. They're like, I'm gonna die. You know, all they're doing is filling tanks, man.
Yeah.
It's not like you were running a marathon. Like, I get it's hot, but like you could have someone running water while you're filling the tanks.
Not to mention you just put it there, and we were both truckers, so we know how long it takes to fuel a truck. But just
like, yeah, I get it's hot and everything, but like I said, there's more than enough people to be running water.
yeah, there's only like 4 of them fueling, and then there's like 6 in the back. And then what truck stop has that many? That owner has that many guns in.
Well,
anyway, that's my number.
Moving on.
Yeah, that's my number 6, Maximum Overdrive. Your number 6.
My number 6 is the greatest Christmas movie of all time. It's Die Hard. And don't let anyone tell you it's not a Christmas movie. Without that Christmas party, there's no one there for them to take hostage. It needs to be the Christmas party for them to be there.
And remember, Christmas movies have Christmas theme in it. The fact that they did it on Christmas Day, had a Christmas party.
They show up on December 1st, and at that time, there's no one fucking there to get you into the safe or anything. So it had to be the Christmas party, when it's light security, people partying and getting drunk. Hans is the greatest movie villain of all time. He's up. It might be number 1. Just that calmness that he knows how good he is. He doesn't have to scream. He doesn't have to yell or get agitated. Coolest guy under pressure, even when he's in the presence of John McClane. Not a fucking bother. He just rolls to a alias and runs with it.
Yippee-ki-yay. My number 5, it was off of Justin's list from earlier. It's Lethal Weapon. And what I want to touch upon with Lethal Weapon, one of the things I like about it is like, yeah, buddy cops, comedy film, comedy action, but it was crazy comedy. Yeah. Like, you laughed at Mel Gibson's character because he was crazy, not because he was funny, because he was crazy.
Then you feel bad for laughing.
Yeah, because then you're like, oh man, he lost his wife. He's going through all these times. I can't blame him for being crazy, but it was, like I said, it wasn't funny. Funny was crazy funny.
He's emulating, the Looney Tunes because that's the only thing he's watching.
Yeah, and then you also have with Danny Glover's character Murdoch as trying to be reasonable, but also having his top, like you can tell he's Murdoch's having enough of Riggs, and it's just getting there, and then he has his own family to deal with. You said you talked about before the chemistry, great chemistry with those two, and that's why they build a franchise that spanned over 2 decades.
Yeah.
And it started with Lethal Weapon, and that's my number 5.
Number 5 is Aliens, because of course it is. You know me.
Sci-fi action.
There's going to be aliens on this list. It's monsters. It's great.
Your number 1.
The Xenomorph is one. Yeah. The Xenomorph is one of the greatest aliens. Probably the second greatest alien of all time. I love the fact they branched into it. You saw the Hive, and you got the Queen, and you got the Return of Ripley. Like, stay away from her, you bitch, and fighting her with a giant mech suit. And those are better than your giant monsters because, it's a mech suit. It's not a 50-foot idiot.
Okay.
They could have really carried this one off onto something, and they failed later on, but Aliens was a great follow-up to Alien.
My number 4, staying with the buddy cop, but now switching to more comedy with action, and that is Beverly Hills Cop, starring Eddie Murphy.
Never watched it.
He carries, obviously, he's the main focus. We talked about the action stars that came out of the 80s, but Eddie Murphy really brought the laughs.
This is a change of pace for Eddie. Because you're starting to go away from, like, the big muscle men here a little bit.
Yeah, and you just went for, like, someone who was just in shape enough to run and to bring the laughs. He fed off his partner. I wouldn't say, like, the best chemistry, and I'll talk about another franchise he was also into. This one, it was more of Eddie Murphy solving the cases and being the goofy detective, but because he's Eddie Murphy, because this was in the height, it just brought the laughs. And then you saw him throw some kicks and punches, and it made it good to watch, easy to watch. Obviously, it's one of his better franchises. I believe they're still always trying to be bringing back 4, even though Eddie Murphy's career is like kind of in the tank. But this one started it all for him. The only thing I can't really say at the top of my head is if this one came first rather than the other film that I'll talk about in a few minutes. I don't know. I can't remember which one came first to really like flow it off because they both came out. I know they both come in the early 80s, but for right now, number 4, Beverly Hills Cop, starring Eddie Murphy.
My number 4, Big Trouble in Little China. When you first watch Big Trouble in Little China, you like have an out-of-body experience. And you ask yourself, what the hell did I just watch? You watch it again, a little better knowledge. And you're like, this is wonderful. Carpenter trolled us all, and it's great. Because you will see the cover. You got Kurt Russell on the cover, looking like big action star. And he doesn't do shit. He falls over, he gets hit in the head at the beginning of the fight, and everyone else does the fighting around him. He does one good thing, and that's when he shoots the main villain. And then he's like, I'm the hero! Yes!
Jesus.
It is the funniest movie with the greatest slapsticks. It's a great homage to samurais and Japanese samurai movies. You get the wire fighting, and you get the samurais who shoot lightning. It's the greatest time. The greatest time you can have watching a movie.
Okay then, Jesus.
You ever watch Big Trouble in Little China?
No, I have not, but now...
You need to watch Big Trouble in Little China.
But now because he said something, I will watch it.
You say that, but I told you to watch Ginger Snaps 2 years ago, and you haven't fucking watched that either.
I'm so backed up on movies right now, it's not funny. Okay, number 3. Scarface. Some will probably say this is overrated, maybe. Sure. I've heard some people say it probably shouldn't stand as the test of time as it has been. But I do appreciate the acting, probably one of the more beginnings of modern day gangster films. You have this person that is a nobody.
Al Pacino.
Like Al Pacino, one of the probably most brilliant actors out there. I mean, this is really his raise to fame. You know, he's a Cuban that comes over, and you know, down on his luck, he literally goes from a simple time drug dealer to like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, drug dealers, I believe, in like New York City, Miami. I thought they went to New York as well.
I don't know. Maybe.
But I know they were doing a lot of like
I think it's to Miami.
Whole East Coast traveling. But either way, you know, he rised up to the very top, and now he has to fight for the top, to stay at the top, and, you know, this is like one of my first gangster movies I watched where it's like, man, the main character still dies. And it was probably one of the more iconic scenes in movie cinema history. Say hello to my little friend. Like, an easy line like that is in cinema history for the rest of its time. I know there's talk about remakes. I don't know if it should be remade.
This is a remake.
A remake of a remake they're talking. But for now, Al Pacino's Scarface is my number 3.
I'll tell you something about Scarface. I refuse to watch Scarface. Adamantly refuse to watch it.
And why is that?
Because I was told by a couple people, I need to watch it. You have to watch it, Justin! It's a fantastic, wonderful fucking movie! So I'm like, you know what? I ain't gonna fucking watch it!
And then he just got on me about watching Ginger Snaps.
I told you classic movies to watch.
Go with your number 3.
There's only one good gangster movie.
And that is?
Suicide Kings. It's wonderful.
What's your number 3?
My number 3, They Live. Roddy Piper's performance. Of course, there'd be a wrestler. There would be a wrestler somewhere. His performance is not as great. I love the his one-liners are always fantastic. It's Roddy Piper, of course they are. But the idea of the aliens among us who's hiding propaganda. I love the fact that every party will say the other one works it. But the alley fight between him and Keith David is fantastic. They choreographed that wonderfully. And the back and forth between him and Keith David too. The fact you never get Piper's name. He's listed as nada. You follow this guy through the movie fighting against these aliens and he dies at the end, flips them off. Perfect gesture. Then all the aliens come through and you never realize they never say his name. Nobody asks who he is. He never tells anyone who he is. And you get the secret reveal, the twist of the one woman's position. It's a great time.
Okay. My number 2 is sticking with the comedy action buddy cop film, once again starring
Eddie Murphy?
Eddie Murphy, but this time with Nick Nolte, which has much, much more better chemistry. I think that's what kind of made this film better than Beverly Hills Cop, is that you had more chemistry with the two actors. Nick Nolte brought the laughs as well as kind of like, you know, like Danny Glover with Murdoch, where he just kind of was like annoyed by his partner, which was Eddie Murphy. And you know, they work a homicide case, nothing really major there as they try to solve the case, which I believe, obviously judging by the title, it takes 48 hours, or they have only 48 hours to solve this case. The laughs, the action, you know, you had Nolte as the traditional cop, you know, being the older cop, he was more of the shooter. You had Eddie as more of the fighter, you know, the run and gun type of person to go get him. It cheered the laughs. It, you know, like I said, this was definitely another decade of, this was you know, Eddie Murphy's real breakout decade, as a bunch of our stars were in this time frame. I mean, another franchise on Eddie's list in the 80s.
Yeah.
So, fun movie to watch. I think it really brought the laughs, and I appreciate the chemistry. I think one of the best part of the movies is the chemistry amongst the actors. They have to work together and feed off each other, and you had that for 48 hours. Number 2.
Number 2, back to Kurt Russell again. John Carpenter. Last 3 were all John Carpenter. John Carpenter is amazing.
That is true.
It's Escape from New York. Great time. I love that future. New York becoming the prison, and you just get thrown in there and you're there. You're not coming out. You get the president who was abducted, his pod landed in New York, and they kidnapped him from there. And you sent in Snake Plissken to go in. You're like, you have X amount of hours before we're going to kill you, and this will kill you.
Wasn't there a sequel that was like horrible though?
No, don't let them lie to you.
Okay.
Escape. You have X amount of hours to bring him and his speech back, or you're going to die. So you have him trying to navigate through New York. You have a #1 villain. I cannot remember his name. But he had chandeliers on the hood of his car. 2 of them acting as his headlights. I want that car.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
But the best part about this movie, though, is he does it. He pulls it off. A lot of people die, and you get Snake going up to the president, who's played by Donald Pleasance. Who's like this scared guy this whole time, and help me, please. And then you get to the end, and he's like, a lot of good men died. I think you should say something. And the president has no time for it. And he's like, I don't care. I got my speech. And he goes and he hits the recorder to play the tape. And it's this horrible music comes through, and you see Snake walking away from the base. He'd earned his freedom. And he's got the tape, and he's just ripping it out. Like, yeah, fuck you. I got you out, and I got your tape right here. That's the best. It's cherry on top. He may have done it, but he still gave the middle finger because this guy was not good to the people who died trying to save him. And you get the reputation of Snake. Everyone inside knows him. Everyone in there fears him. And like, this guy's dangerous. They never tell you what he does. They tell you this big thing that went wrong in Kentucky or Kansas, but they never tell you what it was.
Keep you guessing.
Keep you guessing, keep you on your toes. It's a great movie, great time.
Alright, my #1 action film of the 80s. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Die Hard.
The greatest Christmas movie.
Greatest Christmas movie. Yes, it's labeled as a Christmas movie.
As it should be.
Look at what defines a Christmas movie, and you'll find all those elements in this film. The only difference is there's some more killing.
As Christmas was originally presented to us way back when it was Saturnalia.
More killing, a little bit more swearing, a little bit more blood. You talked about Han, the villain. That was played by Alan Rickman,
yep.
Right? Okay. The late Alec Rickman. He was great in the film. He going up against Bruce Willis's character.
John McClane.
Yep. They, once again, great chemistry.
Oh yeah, their chemistry was amazing.
I would have loved for them to rewrite it to where he was in a sequel.
Yeah.
That would have been like...
well, how would you have done that? Like, he fell off the building.
That's what I'm saying. You would have to rewrite some of that to, maybe just get him arrested or something like that. Because I would have loved to see that carry on in the franchise. Maybe not even have it in part 2.
Well, you had his relative in part 3.
That is true, but it wasn't the same.
He was still alright.
But when you say alright to the greatest movie villain...
He's the gold bar! I mean, being alright compared to the gold bar is pretty good.
It's a compliment. But like you said, you touch upon all the things I was going to say, so that's my #1.
My #1 is, of course it is. Come on.
Of course.
He's been on every list.
I think...
Every one of them.
Before you say this, like, literally, if you watch us separately together, I'm Star Wars, and Justin is...
Predator.
Yep.
Predator. My favorite alien. Going against, you get the crew of the Haas soldiers, like, they're lifting weights in one hand, chugging down whiskey bottles in the other. And they're getting their asses handed to them by an alien. And it's wonderful. This alien is big, haunch, terrifying to look at, with a plasma gun on his shoulder. What more do you want? Predator.
That is it for the actions.
Well, we've done our lists. We know our #1s. What is the best action movie? What is our favorite action movie of all time out of all the #1s?
That's going to be another video because we would have to rank all the winners.
Well, that's not another video. There's only 80s, 90s, 4.
All right, so top 4.
That's not a video. That's a random rant.
And now we'll draw.
I know mine.
I would actually have to think now.
There's no thought. It's shoot 'em up.
Yeah, that's your guaranteed number one.
Guaranteed.
I know
Shoot 'em up
that
is the best.
We both love shoot 'em up. That was hilarious. But until next time.
Bye bye.